What you're looking at isn't just another airplane. This is the COMAC C939, China's aviation masterpiece that could shatter the balance of power in the skies forever. For over 50 years, the names Boeing and Airbus have been synonymous with commercial flight, but this new aircraft, backed by the full might of the world's second-largest economy, is about to challenge everything we thought we knew about who builds the planes that connect our world. Right now, in design centers across China, a revolution is taking shape. Not with bullets or manifestos, but with CAD software, engineering calculations, and ambition on a scale that's difficult to comprehend. China isn't just building planes, they're building an entire aviation ecosystem designed to break America and Europe's stranglehold on how the world flies. And they're doing it faster than anyone predicted. The question isn't if Chinese aircraft will reshape global aviation. It's when and how Boeing and Airbus will respond when they do. Let me put this into perspective. By 2040, airlines around the world will need more than 39,000 new aircraft, worth over $6 trillion. For decades, that's meant primarily a battle between Boeing and Airbus for these lucrative orders, with smaller manufacturers like Embraer, ATR, and Bombardier, now Airbus Canada, claiming specific niches in regional and specialized markets. But China has watched this duopoly from the sidelines for long enough. With domestic air travel booming and projected to surpass the United States as the world's largest market by 2043, supported by 1.4 billion citizens and over 200 million middle-income families, and geopolitical tensions threatening their access to Western aircraft, China has decided building their own planes isn't just economically smart, it's a matter of national security. Think about it. In a world where trade wars and sanctions are increasingly common, depending on American or European planes represents an existential vulnerability China simply can't accept. So, they've embarked on what might be the most ambitious industrial project of the 21st century, creating a complete family of domestically designed and built airliners that can compete with the world's best. And what I'm about to show you will either fascinate or terrify Western aerospace executives. Let's start with what might seem like the least exciting aircraft in China's growing family, the C909, formerly known as the ARJ-21. You might think, why should I care about a regional jet that first flew in 2008? And you'd be right to wonder, after all, it looks remarkably similar to the old McDonnell Douglas MD-80 series. That's because it basically is. When McDonnell Douglas partnered with China in the 1990s, they transferred significant technology before being absorbed by Boeing. China never forgot those lessons. But here's what makes the C909 fascinating. It wasn't built to impress the world. It was built to teach China how to make commercial aircraft. Think of it as China's training wheels. The C909 is China's first step in commercial aviation. It's been derided as outdated and inefficient using older GE CF-34 engines. And carrying just 78 to 97 passengers up to 3,700 kilometers, but that misses the point entirely. With each of the 150 C-99s delivered, Chinese engineers gain invaluable experience in everything from supply chain management to certification processes. Air China now operates 34 of these aircraft, quietly building expertise that's feeding directly into more ambitious projects, and foreign carriers are taking notice. Indonesia's Transnusa Airlines already operate 3 C-99s and has ordered a total of 30 aircraft, with Equatorial Congo Airlines also placing orders. These aren't game-changing numbers, but they represent something profound: China's first steps onto the global commercial aviation stage. And as we're about to see, they're just getting started. If the C-99 was China's warm-up, the C-919 is where things get serious. Here's something that might shock you: more C-919s have been ordered than the entire current fleet of British Airways. Over 1,000 orders and commitments have already been placed, primarily from Chinese carriers, but the implications are global. The C-919 is China's direct challenge to the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320. The workhorses of short to medium haul routes worldwide, and the most profitable aircraft segments for Western manufacturers. Flying since 2017 and entering commercial spaces with China Eastern Airlines in 2023, the C-919 carries between 158 and 192 passengers, up to 5,550 kilometers. If these numbers sound familiar, they should. They're almost identical to the 737 MAX and A320neo. But there's a crucial difference. While Boeing and Airbus charge between $80 to $130 million per aircraft, the C-919 is rumored to be offered at significant discounts to break into the market. And for emerging markets in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, price matters more than brand loyalty. Now I know what you're thinking. But isn't the C-919 just a collection of Western parts in a Chinese fuselage? And you'd be partially right for now. The C-919 currently uses CFM LEAP-1C engines, the same family powering many 737 MAXs and A320neos, along with avionics and systems from companies like Honeywell and Collins Aerospace. But here's where the long game becomes apparent. China isn't just building aircraft, they're systematically developing every component domestically. COMAC has already begun testing the CJ1000, a high-bypass turbofan engine, designed specifically to replace those Western engines. When ready, every C-919 delivered today is building market presence while China quietly develops indigenous replacements for each foreign component, and they're not waiting to expand the family. COMAC is already developing, firstly, an extended fuselage version, adding 50 more passengers, and secondly, a shortened high-altitude variant specifically designed for operations on the Tibetan Himalayan plateau. This isn't just product development, it's strategic positioning to create domestic alternatives in crucial market segments. Even as Boeing and Airbus continue to evolve their own narrow-body offerings, imagine the implications if successful. For the first time since the dawn of the jet age, airlines worldwide might have a viable alternative to Boeing and Airbus for one of their most important fleet segments. But the C-919 is just the beginning of China's ambitions. Now we're entering truly ambitious territory, the C-929 Widebody program. Picture yourself as the CEO of a major airline looking to replace your aging fleet of 787s or A330s. For decades, you've had exactly two manufacturers to choose from for large twin-engine widebodies, each with their own family of aircraft. What would it take for you to consider a third manufacturer from China? That's exactly the question COMAC hopes to answer with the C-929, China's first twin-aisle long-haul passenger aircraft. Designed to compete directly with the Boeing 787 Dreamliner and Airbus A350, with a capacity of 250 to 320 passengers and a range of up to 12,000 kilometers, the C929 aims to connect any two major Chinese cities with any significant destination worldwide without stopping: Beijing to New York, Shanghai to London, Guangzhou to Sydney. And this is just the first of COMAC's ambitious wide-body projects. Later in this video, we'll explore the even more advanced C939, China's true heavyweight contender, designed to challenge the Boeing 777X and the largest Airbus A350 variants. This is where things get complicated for China. Building a regional jet or narrow body, that's one thing. Creating a wide body that can safely and efficiently cross oceans for over 20 years of service is aviation's highest technical challenge. Remember those Western components in the C919? Well, the C929 faces the same challenge, but it's magnified. Modern wide bodies like the 787 and A350 use more than 50% composite materials in their structure. This is technology that China is still working to master at scale. This explains why COMAC initially partnered with Russia's United Aircraft Corporation on the project. However, that partnership has reportedly fallen apart, leaving COMAC to go it alone. Though they are receiving help from companies like Liebherr for landing gear, and potentially GE Aerospace for early engine options. Here's what Western analysts often miss. China doesn't need the C929 to be better than the 787 or A350. They just need it to be good enough while being significantly cheaper. Air China has already signed on as the launch customer, with deliveries optimistically targeted for 2027, though 2029 seems more realistic. COMAC plans 3 variants. Firstly, the C929-500, the base model accommodating 250 passengers in a typical 3-class configuration. Secondly, the C929-600, a stretched version seating 280 passengers in a 3-class layout with an exit limit of approximately 440 passengers in high-density configuration. Lastly, the C929-700, the largest variant with 320 seats in a typical 3-class arrangement. Interestingly, some reports suggest COMAC may introduce the 600 variant first, before offering the shorter 500 and longer 700 variants. The path to Western certification will be challenging. Both the FAA and EASA have incredibly high standards, and the geopolitical environment doesn't favor quick approval. But COMAC doesn't necessarily need Western certification immediately. They can build operational experience within China and friendly nations first, gradually expanding their reach while perfecting the product. Exactly as they've done with the C909 and C919. For Boeing and Airbus, this isn't just another competitor. It's an existential challenge backed by the resources of the world's second-largest economy, and driven by both economic and national security imperatives. A challenge that makes the Boeing versus Airbus rivalry look like a friendly game. If you thought the C929 was ambitious, the C939 concept takes China's aviation aspirations to another level entirely. Have you ever seen a Boeing 777X up close? It's an absolute monster of an aircraft. The largest twin-engine jet ever built, with folding wingtips and GI-9X engines that are almost as wide as a 737's fuselage. Now imagine China building something to compete with it. The C939 is currently in the preliminary design phase, with COMAC engineers working on plans that began in mid-2024. This isn't yet a physical aircraft. It's an ambitious engineering project aimed at creating an ultra-long-haul aircraft capable of carrying approximately 400 passengers up to 7,000 nautical miles, about 13,000 kilometers. effectively connecting any two major aviation hubs with just one stop. To power such a behemoth, China is developing the CJ-2000, also known as the AEF-3500 engine, a scaled-up version of the CJ-1000A being tested for the C919. This power plant won't be ready until at least 2030, which gives us a realistic timeline for when the C939 might take flight. Here's something few people realize. China isn't just developing these aircraft in isolation. They're simultaneously building the entire ecosystem to support them, from maintenance networks to simulator training centers to financing options for airlines. This comprehensive approach means that by the time the C939 is ready, China will have already established a global support infrastructure for its earlier models, making the leap to a larger aircraft far less daunting for potential customers. While technical details remain sparse, the C939 represents China's ultimate aviation ambition. Not just to compete with Western manufacturers but to leapfrog them with next-generation technologies and efficiencies. Whether they succeed remains to be seen, but underestimating China's determination would be a serious mistake. So, what does all this mean for the future of aviation? Could you imagine a world where Boeing and Airbus are no longer the dominant forces in commercial aviation? A world where your next international flight might be on a Chinese-designed and built aircraft? For airlines, COMAC represents something they haven't had in decades: leverage. Even if they never buy a Chinese aircraft, the mere existence of a credible third option gives them negotiating power against Boeing and Airbus. For passengers, more competition could mean lower ticket prices, as airlines benefit from increased manufacturer competition. Though safety concerns will inevitably arise around new aircraft types, it's worth remembering that both Boeing and Airbus faced similar skepticism in their early days. For Western manufacturers, the threat is multi-layered: 1. Loss of the massive Chinese domestic market, soon to be the world's largest. 2. Increased competition in price-sensitive emerging markets. And 3. Potential long-term erosion of their duopoly in established markets. What we're witnessing isn't just about airlines, it's about the shifting center of technological and manufacturing gravity in the 21st century. China's aviation push represents something profound. A nation of 1.4 billion people declaring that the technologies defining modern civilization should not be controlled by just the West, that they too can master the most complex engineering challenges humanity has created. Every C919 that rolls off the production line carries not just passengers but national ambition. Every successful flight of a COMAC aircraft is seen within China as proof that they belong at the table of advanced technological nations. This is bigger than business competition. It's about who will define the future of global technology and infrastructure. And China has made it clear they intend to have a seat at that table. The road ahead for China's aviation ambitions isn't straight or certain. Technical challenges, certification hurdles, and geopolitical complications will all test COMAC's resolve. Building a competitive airliner isn't just difficult, it's one of the most complex industrial undertakings possible. Boeing and Airbus have spent decades building their expertise, supply chains, and safety cultures. COMAC is attempting to compress this learning curve dramatically, and the challenges are immense. Yet, the progress is undeniable. From the C919 to the Airbus C939 design project, China is methodically building not just aircraft, but an entire aviation ecosystem designed to challenge Western dominance. The battle for the skies has begun, and while Western manufacturers still hold commanding advantages in technology, safety record, and global support, China has something powerful on its side: patience. They don't need to win tomorrow, they're playing a longer game, one where every small victory builds towards a future where Chinese aircraft will connect the world in ways we've never seen before. the aviation landscape as we know it is about to change forever. Thank you everyone for watching. If you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.